So 2 days ago, we watched the third prequel Star Wars movie.
Correct.
And we ran into a bunch of issues, so we're recording our review of it a bit later. We are going to try to recall as much of it as we can.
That's no problem for me. I've seen this movie many times.
Yeah, you've seen it multiple times. Again, this is my first time ever seeing it because this is the only one that's rated PG-13.
Yeah, apparently. You told me that. I had no idea.
I wasn't allowed to see it as a kid because I remember pointing it out and my mom wouldn't let me rent it.
Watched this all the time as a kid.
That's why you're fucked up now. So we're just going to run down the plot, basically scene by scene.
Rather than our previous reviews where we kind of just bounce through the walls.
So the movie starts off with a big epic space battle. That's all CGI, and it looks really good.
Yeah, looks great. Right away, you're in space with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and they're trying to fight their way. They're trying to, maneuver their way into the Separatist ship.
Yeah, which supposedly captured Palpatine.
Palpatine was captured by Dooku and Grievous. So they're on their way to go get him right away. They just hop right into the action.
The fight with Dooku and Anakin, because Obi-Wan gets knocked out right away, pretty much.
Yeah, Obi-Wan it starts off Anakin and Obi-Wan getting ready to fight Dooku, the rematch. And this time they try to take it on together, but Obi-Wan still gets kind of thrown to the side. And Anakin once again has to go head-to-head with Dooku. And it shows that he's developed.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to show that he's improved more than Obi-Wan. He's stronger, but also I think it was just an excuse because the senator tells him to cut Dooku's head off, basically.
I mean, if you're big in Star Wars, you know they say that's not the Jedi way to just fucking murder.
Well, that's why I think they just knocked Obi-Wan out right away, because otherwise he probably would have said, why are you telling him to...
Fuck no, don't do that.
Yeah, and honestly, Anakin probably should have suspected that too. Like, why would I cut his head off? But he just does it without any thought.
Yeah, he stopped for a moment, and he said, I shouldn't. And then he did the classic meme, the do it. And then he did it.
And they're also, I guess, friends, him and the senator.
They're pretty close, I guess. You don't really see that in the second film, but you kind of get the idea, I guess, in the first film. Palpatine recognizes Anakin's in the first film that he's a talented kid.
But I don't think that makes them... Because later, the council keeps saying, they're best friends. You guys are super close. I never really got that, but I guess you're just supposed to...
Yeah, they kind of just pulled that out of their ass.
Maybe they should have focused on that in the second movie. Grievous, barely appears. He's introduced as this old robot with bronchitis or something because he's coughing all the time.
Like you said, he's coughing and he's hunched over. He's not standing up straight. He looks like he's been through some shit.
Yeah, General Grievous was always my favorite for some reason. I guess just from the Lego games, and he looks really cool. But this movie really doesn't make him that badass. He's pretty wimpy.
Yeah, he doesn't show his true potential. Because I've also told Deven this before too. I think to really see him at his true potential, you're supposed to watch this little animated series that was made before this film. It's not like the one that came out after the Clone Wars that everyone knows that was on Cartoon Network and stuff. It was one before that. But there's a scene. There's a scene I've seen on YouTube where Grievous fights a couple Jedis and he's just a fucking killing machine.
I like how they did that with Darth Maul too, because now he has his own show. But yeah, so Grievous escapes to a planet in the Outer Rim, and Obi-Wan is sent to go hunt him down. He finds him, and then they have their brief little fight.
Yeah. Did that fight disappoint you?
It started off super cool. He pulls out, he has 2 extra arms, and then he starts swinging the lightsabers.
Off his arms apart. Yeah, and he's got 4 sabers. Cool. He's spinning them in the ground.
Yeah, and then they fight for maybe 15 seconds, and then he runs away because he gets his arms chopped off.
Yeah, his 2 bottom hands get cut off.
He dies at the end because he chases him down, and then Obi-Wan is hanging off a ledge, and all he does is he shoots General Grievous in the heart twice. Yeah, he's trying to fight him hands-on. Fist-to-fist combat, but the dude's made of fucking metal. He opens his chest, and he sees he has a beating heart. Pretty simple. But it's weird. He bursts into flames because his heart got shot.
Yeah, that was just for effects to look cool.
It was such a lame... This is the third... I want to specifically point out. The first movie, Darth Maul, super cool, gets cut in half. Jango Fett, the second movie, super cool. Gets his head chopped off randomly and dies.
Forgot about him.
Grievous in this one, super cool. Gets shot in the heart and dies. Like, they have such awesome villains, and he just doesn't know how to write their deaths well, I think. It's like they need to move on to the original Star Wars stuff. They need to keep working on that, because these characters can't live into the original movies.
They should just stick with, like, one or two. Like, just have them all, like, don't need a different villain for each separate film.
So he kills Grievous, and then it kind of cuts back to Anakin, focuses on him more. This whole time, kind of in between watching Obi-Wan on this Outer Rim planet, Anakin's getting like shit on by the Council.
They do not trust him. They added him to the Council, the Jedi Council, but they didn't give him the rank of Master, and that pissed him off. He didn't like that.
Palpatine's the one who requested that he joins the Council. I'm guessing he knew that would piss Anakin off, because I guess he knew they wouldn't promote him.
Well, this dude had everything planned out.
He had too much planned out. It was a little corny.
He's a smart man.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that him and Padmé, they got married in the last movie, and she's pregnant in this movie, because that's important more for the end.
Yeah, everything's turning on him.
He doesn't like that she's pregnant. It was a mistake.
Yeah, you could see he's just like visibly getting angry, and Palpatine's like he's like going to Palpatine more and more. I guess they're becoming friendlier with one another. Palpatine calls him over and tells him the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Great meme.
Another great meme.
I mean, he pretty much just makes it clear as day. He's a bad guy in the film.
What doesn't happen yet?
He just told him a fucking Sith story.
Well, but that's what's weird, because Anakin doesn't pick up on that, because...
exactly.
Palpatine's telling him... Yeah, he's really stupid. Palpatine's literally telling him the ultimate dark side power is to bring people back to life. And Anakin's, like, intrigued because he keeps having these visions of Padme dying. Palpatine knows this.
Yeah.
Which to me meant that he's, like, implanting these visions or something. But how is that possible? These are all the set pieces to make Anakin evil, basically. It's becoming really obvious.
They get Obi-Wan out of there, and they... leave Anakin with Mace Windu.
Yeah, that's another big setup. Literally, everyone in the Council's gone except Mace Windu. Yoda is on Kashyyyk.
Wookiees.
With the Wookiees, which is also like a really cool separate fight scene. The clone troopers have like camo armor, which I've never seen. That's super cool.
Yeah, I've seen the Wookiees fight too against the droids. That shit was dope.
So Anakin meets up with Palpatine like in his office like one final time. And yeah, Palpatine straight up admits that he's like the Sith Lord. Anakin briefly says, I should kill you.
Yeah, he whips out his saber. He's like, I should kill you right now. He doesn't, but he turns him in.
He tells Mace Windu he is the Sith Lord, and Mace Windu says, good job, I trust you now. I'm gonna go check this out. So he like walks in, confronts Palpatine with 3 other masters, ready to kill him. And then he jumps up from his chair, does this awesome like spin move, and then the fight begins.
Torpedo spin.
Yeah, they all get cut down pretty quick.
That was dumb.
I love that.
That they die instantly?
Yeah, because it shows how strong he is.
They could have made it look a little better.
I think maybe they shouldn't have been masters. I think he should have brought, like, apprentices or something.
My issue is that Lucas just had him stand there, looking in a different direction. He just killed him instantly. Just the way it looked. It looked goofy.
Finally, Mace Windu, like, knocks him down, and he's, like, repelling his lightning, Palpatine's lightning.
Yeah, he's turning all fucked in the face.
And of course, that's right when Anakin walks in. The dumbass, I guess, doesn't trust his master, instead trusts this
Sith Lord.
random Sith Lord. Yeah, he already knows he's evil.
He's desperate. He wants that power. He's got a huge attachment to Padme. And when he sees those visions of her possibly dying, he falls for it, and it turns him over to the dark side. So I guess it comes full circle on the way.
I can see it. It makes sense. But in the end, it just makes Anakin a huge idiot.
Oh, he's a moron.
It's just kind of disappointing. Like, that was our main hero. He kills Mace Windu, forces him off of a ledge.
Sliced his hand off, and then the Emperor zaps him off.
Yes.
He's like, unlimited power, and he throws him off the cliff, and he's dead.
And then he makes him Lord Vader. So then he's sent to go to the Jedi Temple and kill everyone there. Anakin goes in, slaughters all the younglings, and then also at the same time, Palpatine calls for Order 66.
It's a great moment.
I love that scene where all the clones start shooting down their Jedi Masters.
You got the music really kicking in, and they're just wiping out the Jedis.
All the Jedi we're familiar with, obviously except Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda's smart.
Yoda sensed it coming.
He sensed that shit. Palpatine also, after Anakin mass murders kids, also gave him the job to wipe out the leaders of the Trade Federation.
Yep, they're wrapping up the war because the Sith have won. So he's just getting rid of the other side of the war. They don't need him anymore. And then in the meantime, we get 2 of the most popular lightsaber fights in probably all the prequels.
Yeah, so
Obi-Wan finds out that Anakin's the Sith now.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is sent to go confront Anakin, and Yoda goes and confronts Sidious.
Because it takes place in the council room, which is like my favorite setting so far for some reason.
Like the fucking auditorium shit they have where they're all in like those pods.
Yeah, and they're like force pushing pods at each other, and it's a cool setting.
Before we get to that too, I forgot to mention, I feel like it's an important point. The Emperor also gets full power. What's the word? Guy in charge. Not commission.
I'll just call him High Chancellor, High Senator.
Chancellor. He gets full control then, and he says it like he creates the first galactic empire. The empire is starting, everyone's on board.
Okay, yeah, because the whole council agrees that it's time to set up an empire, basically, which is kind of weird, but okay.
Yeah, this will benefit me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't really buy that, but whatever, it's fine. So yeah, and then Yoda versus Sidious, and my only problem, Yoda and Sidious are both supposed to be like masters of each side of the Force. So I think they should have not used lightsabers at all and just had like a Force battle.
They kind of did a little bit towards the end. But yeah, a little bit towards the end.
They both do a lot of
throwing
weird
the fucking shit at each other.
But that's not enough. I'm talking like I want Sidious to just be shooting lightning everywhere and Yoda's like deflecting it, kind of like what he did with Dooku. Because I don't like their fight styles. You brought up like
flipping around.
Yeah, a lot of weird flipping around for an old man. Like why? It's a really weird fight style. It makes no sense. So I think they should have just forgotten the lightsabers, saved themselves CGI effort.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. I do like the fight though, even with the lightsabers.
So then at the very end, it's like the big fight that everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan needs to find Anakin. And the only person that he can like trust at this point to maybe find him is Padmé. And she doesn't really want to tell him because she knows what's happening.
Yeah.
He's telling her what's happening, and she doesn't want to believe it. So then she goes off to Mustafar, right? That's the lava one. And then Obi-Wan sneaks on her ship when she doesn't know. They go over there.
And then Anakin confronts Padmé and says, "You're turning on me," because
he gets pissed because she's kind of like, dude, I don't want to do this shit. What the fuck? And then Obi-Wan's standing inside the ship, like right at the entrance.
It's weird that I guess there's some implication he like lost his mind or something because Padmé's the whole reason he's doing all of this, and yet he kills her. Like really?
He thought he was getting betrayed.
But they fight. The fight scene's pretty long and not too interesting. Long.
I liked in the start. It could have been cut in half, probably.
There's just too much of them not really fighting. A lot of it's just them like avoiding the lava, kind of.
Yeah, showing the lava.
It's a lot of reliance on CGI.
CGI, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the name of the game for the prequels. Like when they first get into that room where he killed all the leaders of the Trade Federation, when they're fighting there, I really enjoyed that. They their lightsabers clash, and then they both try to hit each other with the Force push at the same time. Shit like that was cool.
So then at the very end, Anakin jumps up.
Oh yeah, great meme.
Gets his legs chopped off, and that's it. He's defeated.
Yeah. Obi-Wan gets the high ground.
3 movies, and just because Obi-Wan has the high ground.
He gets sliced up, loses 3 limbs, 2 legs, and one of his other arm. Not the non-robot one he already lost in the last episode.
This goes right back to my point that Lucas does not know how to end fights or kill villains.
He just had to find a way to... Darth Vader said that he's more machine than human.
But they could have. I'm just saying he could have had his arm chopped off in battle, and then he still's fighting, and then he chops a leg off, and he's still fighting.
Throughout the battle?
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
This dude's fighting on one leg.
Yeah, it would have shown like his dedication or whatever.
Well, instead he gets his limbs sliced off
in one slice, in one
He's
jump.
an idiot.
And so he's like crawling on the bank, sliding into the lava, burning alive, which looks pretty cool. Obi-Wan says his last words.
Yeah, it's like, you were the chosen one. You were like a brother to me. I loved you. Like all that shit.
Yeah, it's pretty emotional. It's pretty good, actually.
Ewan McGregor did a really good job with it.
And then just like the epilogue stuff, it shows Vader being rebuilt. It shows Padme dying literally because her heart was broken, which is the worst writing I've ever fucking heard. And she gives birth to twins, which is Luke and Leia. And then it shows Obi-Wan delivering Luke to his family. And then
they just gotta cram everyone into their spots before the original.
Yeah, they're literally just setting up the pieces, pretty much.
Yeah.
It briefly involves, you see CP3O and R2 getting their memories wiped, which is such a cheap cop-out.
Yeah.
Just so they won't recognize Vader again.
Yeah, they had to find a reason for that, because Anakin fucking built C3PO.
Yeah, and I was kind of saying earlier, like in the movie, like it would be really cool if they like recognized Vader or Vader recognized C3PO and R2, because they're like his best friends pretty much.
Like, oh hi, like guys, what's new? Long time no see.
And then also Yoda goes into exile on his planet and talks to Qui-Gon.
Yeah, so Qui-Gon found a way to, I guess they called it like
invincibility. Because he just joins the
Force. Yeah.
It's just cool because that's like the ultimate Jedi power, and then the Sith's ultimate power is to bring people back from the dead. So it's kind of like a juxtaposition. That was the plot broken down, and now we're just going to talk about the actual like film components of it. Starting with how it looks is way better, like insanely better than the other prequels. I didn't notice the CGI nearly as much.
CGI looked pretty damn good.
The far shots that we've already been praising from the last two movies, they're like even better here. Like there's some of Kashyyyk that look beautiful, and Coruscant is like vastly upgraded. It looks insane how cool it looks now. A big returning problem is the dialogue still. It's still pretty bad.
At times it still sounds pretty robotic and corny with the delivery of some of the dialogue. So many great memes.
It's the same great music, like literally the same tracks. I think there's like one new one that's a classic as well.
The music, the score is never bad. Yeah. Always a highlight in the films.
And the acting feels better for me. I actually didn't mind Hayden Christensen that much in this one.
Yeah, he definitely improved in this film.
That's mostly attributed to the fact that he plays a more serious character. He doesn't have to do as much shitty romance and like jokes and whininess.
Yeah.
And my least favorite actor, or maybe not least favorite, but just I started to notice Samuel L. Jackson isn't really that great.
His role just doesn't really like fit, I feel like, his style of acting.
Yeah, he's supposed to play like a super straight-faced, emotionless character.
The movie definitely had the most like combat in it.
Yeah, it had like the most memorable scenes for me and like action set pieces.
You get a bit of action throughout the whole movie rather than like the previous movies is kind of just stored all at the end.
I thought the movie was kind of slow towards the end. Even though I was enjoying what I was seeing, I was kind of checking the time.
I thought this movie was paced pretty well. I never really found myself thinking it was dragging on. Maybe it's because I've seen it so many times. I don't know.
I would think if you've seen it multiple times, you would be the one checking the watch.
I like the movie, so...
Maybe nostalgia.
The satisfying conclusion for the prequels. I'm gonna give it an A.
Where do you go from there? Are the original Star Wars like A+ for you?
I love the original Star Wars.
Alright, well, as this is my first take of this movie, I have zero nostalgia behind this, never seen it before, and I still thought it was really good. Like, I was genuinely surprised. The only thing really is the dialogue and the acting, so that's all kind of George Lucas stuff.
Yeah, that's just consistent with the prequels.
Yeah, but for the third prequel movie, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a high score too, man.
It's a high score, but it leaves a little room because I'm anticipating the original Star Wars movies to blow me away.
If you average out the scores from all three prequels, you like the prequels more than me.
Let's quickly say that. So I gave the first one a 7 out of 10, the second one a 5 out of 10, and this one an 8 out of 10.
I gave Phantom Menace a B minus. I gave Attack of the Clones, I gave that a D. Revenge of the Sith, I gave this an A.
So we do kind of both. We have like
actually,
same.
We're relatively the same. You just like.
I like the second one a bit more. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Now I'm super excited. We're finally getting into the original Star Wars movies. That's what everyone loves. I've never seen them. Not that I remember, I guess.
The only thing you really got to realize is that these films are much older. So
I like old movies, though.
Yeah. If you watch it like in the order we're watching it, it might feel weird to go from like a 2005 CGI film to like a 1977 film that didn't have that big of a budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hate CGI, so the more practical effects, the better for me.
But the original 3 movies, I love them. I love the original 3 films. I think they're great. I think they have much better stories, acting, everything.
I'm hyped.
Oh, 80.
The critic score is high, but audience score is a little lower. Truly the best of the bad Star Wars movies. Revenge of the Sith doesn't make a whole lot of sense, both when viewed as self-contained and when seen as part of the Star Wars whole, but at least Lucas bothered to put a whole movie in here. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think, honestly, this one made the most sense to me out of the rest.
So I feel like it was probably the most well put together. A lot of people like it.
There's a lot of 5-star reviews. I did not expect that much.
I've heard more and more people appreciate the prequels since the Disney ones came out.
That's weird, though. I hate when I've seen a lot of people saying, I haven't watched the Disney ones yet, but I see a lot of people saying, like, see, these are really shit, so the prequels weren't as bad. But
yeah,
it shouldn't excuse the prequels.
It comes around, too, because at the end of the day, these prequels are still George Lucas's work. The Disney ones aren't. Like, that's just Disney making it.
The executives made the Disney one.
Yeah, Disney executives made it. That really pissed. It doesn't matter how well the movie is shot and looks. The fact that it's not what George Lucas intended Star Wars to be, that really pissed a lot of people off.
Literally, the last 70 minutes of this movie is what I have been waiting for, and the payoff is well worth the wait for this epic conclusion to an otherwise flawed prequel trilogy. Yeah, I like how he says last 70 minutes. That's like half the movie.
The movie's 2 hours, so that's the last hour and 10 minutes of a 2-hour movie.
People complain about the acting, but I truly think Hayden was excellent. The dialogue could have been better in some scenes. I guess it's not the actor's fault. Scenes with Obi-Wan and Anakin near the end are so good. I'm glad someone finally acknowledged the dialogue could have been better, but it's not the actor's fault. I hope other people realize that.
He's got a fucking word vomit whenever George Lucas thinks it's right.
Whenever people roast kid Anakin and stuff, I don't think those people realize it's not his fault. He's just a kid. I'm never watching this disaster again. The least rotten of the bunch.
The least rotten of the bunch. Holy shit.
And it has a 1 star still. Better than Attack of the Clones, not as good as Phantom Menace, a rushed end to the prequel trilogy, putting everyone into their original trilogy starting positions. Exactly.
Not as good as the Phantom Menace?
I guarantee he's only thinking of the Darth Maul scene. Better than all the preceding Star Wars films combined, so it's worthy of about a 3 out of 10. Generally unwatchable, especially the first hour. I found myself constantly distracted throughout waiting for the incredibly boring and incessant lightsaber battles to end. Wow. There was a bit of plot development, but really another episode of dross. Can't see myself ever enduring another of these films, but who knows?
He doesn't like action?
Yeah, that was what I was surprised about. He didn't like the lightsaber. See, that's what I'm saying. There's 2 types of people. People think action is boring. They'd prefer dialogue. Those are the people that love Tarantino.
But he liked it more than the other ones. Why didn't you like episode 1 so much? Or 2? There's so much.
The CGI probably outweighs the dialogue. I guess if it's just not his thing, I can kind of see how he just wouldn't like it, but...
Subjective, man. It's subjective. This is where the fun begins. Look at the memes.
Still better than anything Disney put out, except maybe Rogue One.
Rogue One is great. I like Rogue One.
I bet it's garbage.
I bet you're dumb.